Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. My name is Pete Gilfil, and I'm here with my business partner, Nat Truitt. We're all about helping people become business owners and inspire them to be the best they can be. And we are going to have some fun today. But before we start, Nat, I got to tell you, I lost the war.
What was the war?
I gave in. I'm joining you, my friend.
Oh, am I sensing a puppy in your future?
Oh, yes. I fought it hard, boy. I thought I had it killed. We lost our dog during the pandemic, our dog of 13 years, and the family's been pushing to get a puppy. And I'm like, no puppy.
Yeah, you want your freedom.
I want the freedom, right? And so I was informed the other day that we are picking up a puppy on Sunday. Ooh. So I'm joining your ranks.
Okay. Well, it'll change your life, Pete. It'll change your life.
Yeah, I'm just hoping not in a bad way.
Get the baby gates ready and, prepare to be mopping up the floor every, hour because of accidents.
Don't get me going. Well, Nat, I'm excited today. We've got a very special guest. Jeff Krause is joining us. He is a FocalPoint business coach. Welcome, Jeff.
Well, happy to be here. Thank you, Pete.
It is always good. And I got to tell you, I was so excited to have our podcast today with you because you've got such a rich background. If I remember correctly, not only were you an executive with Walmart, but you also started your own business prior to becoming a franchisee. So let's start. You were with Walmart for 30 years. Is that right?
That's right. 30 absolute wonderful years. Had the opportunity really to grow up with that company. I think we've talked about it before, but when I started with them back in 1981, I'm dating myself here, but there was 176 stores with Walmart at the time, and through that nearly 30 years that I was with them, we built that thing and I like to think that I was a part of that, a big part of that, to where it was, the largest retailer in the world.
Yeah. And you think about it, because I know you started with Walmart before Walmart, you were with KMart, right?
Yeah.
And you think about Kmart back in its day, I read something like, I did a case study in college, 20% of people went to Kmart. Part of the US population went to Kmart. And they didn't evolve. And I think that's the great thing about Walmart and the rich history of it is it evolved over time. And what a great business.
Well, the difference with the two great companies as they were growing up, and Sam Walton was the best at taking things from others and trying to perfect them within Walmart. And they evolved, they changed when they needed to change, whereas others didn't, and kind of see where things are today.
Yeah. What'd you do for Walmart?
I was ultimately, went through all the ranks, started out as an assistant manager in Missouri and ran 5 different stores in Missouri, Iowa, Colorado, and so forth. And then district manager, I opened the state of Wisconsin with them. Ultimately went in and moved to Chicago, your great area, and then ultimately out here in Virginia, and was a market manager in Virginia, and basically had what we call the Delmarva area.
Okay, that's great. All right, so 30 great years, and I'm sure you could tell us some stories about the Waltons. We'd probably get in trouble, so I won't ask you to share any of those great stories. But it sounds like they were wonderful people, great organization to grow up in. So you left Walmart, and what'd you do after you left Walmart?
I had the opportunity. Well, I retired from Walmart back in 2009 after a brief retirement, very brief. Went in with some guys and started up a waste recycling company. And we actually grew that company in 10 years to really a startup to a $60 million company.
Wow. So entrepreneur, in addition to being a successful executive. So you ran that business, you guys built that business up for 10 years, and then I think you sold it or you left that business, and that's where you and I found each other. Is that correct?
That's where you and I found each other. That is correct.
I'm so sorry for you. All right. So you came to me and you were exploring your different options, and you could probably come back into the corporate world if you chose to. You could come up with another big idea, start it, but you also wanted to look at franchising. And so you and I spent some time. I got to know you a little bit. We got you in front of some franchise companies, and you ultimately invested in FocalPoint Business Coaching. Tell me a little bit about why you selected FocalPoint Business Coaching, the franchise.
It's really all came down to FocalPoint gave me the platform and gave me the opportunity to really do what I've done for essentially my whole business career, and that is lead, teach, and mentor people. And just trying to help people become true leaders.
Yeah, but you have so much business experience. You have 30 years with Walmart. You helped build a company for 10 years. So you come into FocalPoint, you bring all that business acumen, but what did they bring to the table? So you brought all that experience. What did they bring to the table as a franchisor for you?
Well, the beauty of it is what they do is they give me all the information that I need. They give me, we call it the library and wealth of just teaching and training and all of everything that I need to be able to do and help others.
Got it. So you bring the experience. They've got kind of, for lack of better terms, the infrastructure, all the kind of the content. They have the processes, all that kind of stuff. And you combine the two and you build a successful business coaching business owners. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. You and I have talked about this before. As you think about, as you work with corporations, businesses, where do you think the biggest area you help businesses with? What is your kind of focus as you kind of step in and help businesses?
The biggest thing that I try to help them with is how to be leaders. It is an opportunity that we have out there right now. I really feel, whether it's in the corporate world, the business world, or whatever, people need to really work on being leaders and knowing how to be a leader, not just a manager, but being a leader and understanding their people, listening to their people on what their true needs are, and understanding that you're not the most important individual. It's your people that make you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've talked about this before. I think as a country, we need more leaders, whether they're corporate executives or politicians, in my opinion, from a standpoint. But the idea is that we need to do this. And you can't learn that in school, right? You can't get leadership skills in school. That comes from working and being a leader and growing from a standpoint. Certainly, you probably had some great experiences in your 30 years with Walmart or even starting your own business about how you grew your leadership skills.
You have to grow into it. I'm working with a corporation right now, a very large corporation, who has a district manager program. They do a great job in bringing up their district managers and through their programs. But one of the things that they're missing is how to really work on relationships, how to work on leadership. They're very good at teaching them how to use the laptop and things like that, but they don't really teach them leadership. And what we're doing is, all right, they teach them those things, tag, you're it, they hand them off to me, and I'm working with them on how to be true leaders and mentors to their people.
Boy, what a great service you provide to those businesses, right? Because leadership, that drives the business forward. Absolutely. Very good. So you work to help people become leaders as part of your coaching, which is very cool. As you think about now franchising, right? And as a franchise owner, you have to be a leader. What characteristics do you think, if somebody is going to invest in a franchise, what characteristics do you think they have to have, or what kind of what characteristics should somebody have if they're going to invest in a franchise?
Fire in the belly. You've got to really,
fire in the belly. I love it.
You've got to really want to do it, and being able to, whatever franchise that is, you've got to be able to understand every aspect of being a business owner, as well as being that CEO president.
Yeah. So if translating is, one, you got to have that just sense of urgency. You got to drive the business, right? That passion. Number two is you've got to have leadership skills from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And I think it's also bringing some acumen through the experience. So absolutely. What advice would you give somebody that is starting down the road? Maybe they're a corporate executive and they're thinking, maybe I should invest in it, or at least explore investing in business. What advice would you give somebody that's kind of thinking, should I explore becoming an entrepreneur?
First and foremost, and I will tell this to anybody, get a franchise coach. Whether that's a Pete Gilfillan with Hire Yourself or whoever it is, get a franchise coach, because they understand what it takes to go through the whole process. And it is a lengthy, time-consuming process, whether it is navigational calls, whether it is discovery days, or whatever it is. And that franchise coach really helps you get through and work through all of that whole process.
Yeah, because when we look to invest in a franchise, you're doing your due diligence, and it is a series of steps. It's a process. And I think that's where, like Nat and I help people, is we have that set process, and we don't do the investigations for them. We don't do the due diligence, but we do help them through the way of understanding, okay, what's next? How do you do that? And give them some teaching, educating, and certainly a process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from your standpoint, so you've been a franchisee now for, was it about 6 months?
Well, as of June of last year. So almost
June
a
of,
year now.
okay,
We're coming
almost
up
a
on
year. Oh, wow. All right, very good. And what is your experience? So far, so good? I mean, probably some great learnings.
It has been, there's trials and tribulations as there are to anything in life. I came out of the blocks like a sprinter. I soon realized it's a marathon. It's not a 100-yard dash.
Yeah.
Or it's all in meters now, I guess. But you're going to have days where you're going to think, why did I get into this? Why did I do this? But you pick yourself up with your bootstraps and you keep moving, keep getting yourself out there, and doing everything you can to try to help others.
Yeah, that's truly the entrepreneurial spirit, right? You just got to go out there and make it happen, and figure out what you need to do, how to adjust. Nat's a serial entrepreneur. Nat, you want to ask him any questions, kind of more kind of personal stuff?
Yeah, I was kind of marinating on what you actually just said about, helping others. And I do think that that's really is important to, have come to it from the right place and to help others, and also provide a great opportunity for your employees. And so that kind of was resonating with me. So Pete and I just got a puppy, and Pete's getting a puppy. Jeff, do you have a dog you'd like to tell us about, or?
We don't have a dog right now.
Okay.
With me working, me working at home.
Do you want a dog? I can have it air shipped to you really fast.
I can tell you, we might not be too far away from getting one.
What do you have a certain breed that you like, or?
We had a Maltese was the last one we had.
Oh, yeah.
I would do that again. I want one of those little lap dogs now. We've been through the boxers and things like that, and I don't know that I've got all the energy necessary to really raise one of those again.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, we have, my wife has deposits with 4 different breeders. So we're picking up this dog, but we still have deposits with like 4 breeders. So if you want me to transfer any of those to you, I'm more than willing to give them to you, because I don't want to end up with a second dog.
I appreciate the help there.
Yeah. And then we always like to ask if there's maybe a book that's been really meaningful to you, or that you'd like to share with people.
I tell you, there's really been so many, but one in particular recently has been Alvin's Law. Pete, you and I talked about it recently, and the whole book, it really talks about how to overcome obstacles and have that yes I can attitude.
I'm going to write that down, like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That's correct.
Okay, Alvin's Law.
Alvin's Law. Wow, boy. And what great skills for people to have, right? To work through problems.
Absolutely.
And certainly the pandemic, and we were talking about this on another podcast, right? It's the ability for entrepreneurs to work through problems or situations. And we use the example of this restaurant, right? There were 2 restaurants in this town They were close to each other. The pandemic comes, they start locking things down. One restaurant shuts their doors, furloughs their employees. The other one, they go to Home Depot, they buy a bunch of wood, they buy, kind of the stuff to make an outdoor patio. They create a place where they can do drive up, take out stuff. And 6 months later, one is thriving, got long lines down the street. The other one's still shut down, right? That's problem solving. That's an entrepreneur figures out how we can do it.
Well, you're the quarterback. Sometimes you got to call an audible.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great analogy from a standpoint. Do you have a thought leader? Is there anybody that you kind of follow, like a Tony Robbins or a Darren Hardy or anybody?
Well, those are two great ones. Obviously, growing up, the mentor and everything was Sam Walton and everything that he had done. Today, it is, quite honestly, it's Brian Tracy and what he does with FocalPoint and how it all started, and his teachings and so forth out there are just they're just spot on.
Yeah. Did I read he has like 50 books, right? He's written like 50 books.
Yes.
That's just amazing to me. I mean, I wrote one book and it about killed me. So I don't know. 50 books. That's crazy. And is he still active out there doing like keynote speeches or presentations, that kind of stuff?
He's still extremely active doing all those types of speeches and so forth.
Oh, that's just great. I gotta go listen to one of them because I really like some of his stuff, and because he does some good stuff and content on like sales training and things like that too.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, goal setting. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is exciting. Any other advice you'd give to somebody that's thinking about this idea of this crazy world of becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, I had the opportunity to, I'm going to use another sports analogy. I had the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Pete Gilfillan, helping me.
My wife wouldn't call me a goat. She'd call me a lot of other things, but not a goat. So thank you.
I can't stress enough, utilize a franchise coach in helping you go through the process.
Well, thank you very much. Well, it has been a pleasure to have you here today, and congratulations again on all your success. And I can't wait to hear more stories about how you've helped other businesses, build those leaders. Because, gosh, we certainly need leaders here in the United States. So, thanks again for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for everything you've done for me.
Thanks for listening to the Hire Yourself podcast. For more resources, check out our website at hireyourself.com. And remember to subscribe to this podcast to receive each episode. Please leave us a rating, and we'd love to hear your feedback or suggestions for topics.